Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we have a very special guest joining us, Mr. Siddhartha Mishra, an independent lawyer with a unique perspective on the legal profession, who practices in the Supreme Court of India, High Courts, and trial courts. He has extensive experience in family, criminal, and civil matters, and is also a social activist who specializes in preventing cruelty towards animals. Beyond his impressive legal background, Siddharth has a deep passion for spirituality and yoga, which has shaped his approach to law and life in general. He firmly believes in the power of mindfulness and self awareness to not only improve his own life but also to enhance the way he interacts with others and his approach towards his work. Throughout his career, he has successfully blended his legal expertise with his spiritual practices to help his clients navigate the complex legal landscape in a more holistic and empathetic way. In addition, he is passionate about helping people overcome addiction to drugs and alcohol and regularly provides counseling in this area. His enthusiasm for yoga and spirituality has led him to become associated with the Bihar School of Yoga, Munger, the world's first yoga university. When he is not practicing law or promoting wellness, he is a sports enthusiast who enjoys playing tennis and running with his dog Rex, covering up to 6 kilometers. We are honored to have such a multifaceted guest to share his insights and experiences with us today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Siddhartha Mishra. I welcome you, Siddharth. You're welcome.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Siddharth, in your opinion, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the legal industry today, and how do you think they can be addressed?
No, you see, from the time, from the bygone days, we are facing problems in this legal field, and as the saying goes, and most of the businesses are faced with a number of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible problems. And and the legal sector continues to reel and adapt to forced the COVID-fueled culture shock that has changed the way the profession works at an unprecedented speed of change. So pre-COVID and post-COVID, the scenario is changing. Like online is coming and online courts have started. And traditionally, the lawyers are, they're resistant to change, and this reality is constant in this profession. And like in addition to innovating based on needs, it must also be done while keeping in mind that the mission of innovation is better to serve the client. And client are also now techno-savvy; they're very intelligent.
Right.
And one cannot cheat them. So this is an ongoing process, and this is a great change happening across the board. Yeah.
So, how has the legal profession evolved over the years, and what changes do you anticipate in the future?
Oh, yeah. This legal profession is evolving. The law is not static; it's dynamic in nature. And in Indian context, I'm telling. Let us forget about the world context or whatever. And in India, during the early period, from the time of Vedas to the Upanishads, people live in small groups, in tribes, and the head of these groups delivered justice under the open sky for all the members of the society, from Chandragupta to the from you can if you see Ramayana and King Vikramaditya, and we are all well, and we are aware. We have seen on TV, and they solved the critical cases from those days. उसके बाद फिर during the Mughal period फिर Muslims आए, and the legal process started changing, and the litigants appoints their wakils. The wakil is what do you call it? Wakil is a Urdu word. And during those days, the sufferer presented complaints before the king, and the king, with the help of his religious heads and wise courtiers, delivered the judgments. And उस वक्त एक कॉन्सेप्ट ये था कि वकील्स perform their work as an agent of the principal of the government, मतलब उस वक्त जो थे, and not as lawyers. Then things started changing when British came, and in 1726 marked it was a new phase of evolution in law, and in the presiding towns of Bombay, Kolkata, and Chennai, they were the royal courts, and the courts and civil suits pleas between the parties, and they followed the procedure of जैसे कि होता है ये based on the English law, right? And most of the and here now in what we are following the English law, तो तब तक change नहीं हुआ है. And then फिर आया Charter of 1726, and it marked the beginning, and it really and उसके बाद Charter of 1756 आया, and उसमें कोई कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ legal profession में changes, but things started organizing, and in 1774 the Supreme Court of Judicature was established at Kolkata. And the clause 2 of the charter, उसका clause है, and the clause 2 of the charter empowered the Supreme Court to approve and enroll advocates and attorney at law. And the Supreme Court had powers to remove any advocate or attorney on reasonable cause. And then, फिर 1774 के बाद, then slowly changes होते गए. Then उसके बाद आया Bengal Regulation Act 1793 में, and where Hindu, Muslims, and people from all the religions were entitled to be enrolled as leaders. And this act, for the first time, I think, provided for a regular legal profession for the company's code, East India Company. And then Indian High Courts Act 1861 को, and each presidency town में उसका setup हुआ. And the civil courts are organized in provinces also subsequently. Then Legal Practitioner Act आया 1879 को, जैसे कि हमारे pleaders, muftiyars were, and barristers work started, and High Court, and I think in 1879 the High Court was empowered to make rules consistent with this act. And the Indian Bar Committee Act आए 1923 को, जो काफी, and it was constituted under the chairmanship of Sir Edward Charminar. And उसके बाद Indian Bar Council Act 1900 Indian Bar Council Act आया, and फिर धीरे धीरे करके there are a lot of changes, और अब तक भी changes. फिर वही हमारा ब्रिटिश के जाने के बाद more laws started coming, more amendments are happening, और मेरे हिसाब से the more law there is more confusion. So whatever the law is there, let it be implemented properly.
That is more important.
Yeah, that is more important.
So, how do you see this legal profession evolving to incorporate more mindfulness and self-awareness practices? You are yourself an advocate for mindfulness and self-awareness. So, how can it be incorporated in legal profession?
You see, mindfulness is one of the key factor which and legal education is one for which there is a corresponding change across the legal no, and mindfulness is a very unseen practice, right? And it is and in modern times, the application is becoming more scientific.
Yes.
In every faculty, whether law to medicine to the corporate sector, and it is both. It can be used both in an experimental way and a way of life also, and in a way it helps one to to work diligently and intelligently. And because we are more when we start, we will be more attuned and responsive to the present moment concern, and
yes,
so things are changing, and time is also changing, because we are living in a and the present scenario, if you see, then all are into bhagadori and rat race.
Yes.
Yeah. So a time comes when you have to be one-pointed. And this one-pointedness helps us to keep us moving.
Focus, and I think focus, concentration.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, Siddharth, can you share a case that you are most proud of in your legal career, and why it has been so significant to you?
Oh, there are many cases I've handled, mostly in family matters, and actually, I do counseling to couples and who are in stress, coffee. It is very much time consuming. So I never get into, I don't prefer to dragging couples to courts. And marriage is for me, it is a commitment, and it is not a bandhan, it is not a bondage, rather it is it is a friendship. And it is also started deteriorating, and suppose actually, during my initial days of practice, I got a missed call. I was quite asleep, and I saw 25 missed calls from a boy, and I helped him in recovering. He was alcoholic, and I said, "What happened?" And he told me, "Please come to the police station." I went to the police station, and I just got shell shocked. I saw there was a girl sitting beside him. They both were crying. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "No, I love this girl and want to marry." So, and they were in the police station. Then I started discussing things with the police. Then actually, the girl age was she had just attained the age of 18.
Okay.
So अगर below होता तो POCSO लग जाता.
Exactly.
And but I went to the hospital where she was born. I got collected her medical certificate. Just you see how. Then I took them to a mandir. They got married, and they are now. And that girl's father was an alcoholic, and no alcoholic wants a girl to marry an alcoholic. That's even an alcoholic also.
Yes.
So, and at that time that boy has no money. So I said, Then he gave me interest. He was a dog lover, and yeah, dog breeder also. So he gave me a dog.
Okay.
Yeah, and Rex is a boy. Yeah.
Right, very well. So, सिद्धार्थ, लीगल लॉ और ये प्रैक्टिसेस जो है डे टू डे चेंज होती रहती हैं. हाउ डू यू
जी जी.
स्टे अपडेटेड विद दैट एंड कैसे, मतलब किन रिसोर्सेज को आप हेल्पफुल समझते हैं कि स्टे
Yeah.
अपडेटेड?
Um, you know, one must, there's in this, now law, earlier people used to read lot of books, and still I read books. I'm not compatible with this online material. I can't glare at a computer or a mobile phone and reading pages and pages. I prefer rather, I'm still old school, you can say. I buy books, I read, but ये पोस्ट कोविड ऐसे डेवलपमेंट हुए इन चीज़ों में कि I done most of the conference workshop. I joined many workshops, conference, webinars, and law talks and open talks, and all are the great ways to enhance your, and some legal update with the legal news and which and plenty of these are run by prestigious companies also. And they still usually always have to get the opportunity to network and ask questions at the end. So these things keep me updating, and I keep myself and this skills development भी होते हैं.
Okay, very good.
Actually, in my life, my father wanted me to be a lawyer. You can say I'm forced to be in the profession of law because I'm the first generation lawyer.
Okay.
And I was working in Pune. I was working in Pune at that time.
Right.
In 2005, my father called me. You join law. He said, why? He was telling me. So somehow he got me admitted into law school, and I cleared my subject law, and I'm a law. Initially, काफी face करने पड़े, and initial कोई लोग आए help किए मेरे को, but I'm एकलव्य in this field of law.
Okay.
You can say whatever I learned from reading. My colleagues, they also help me a lot.
Okay.
You need good friends, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं, but चंद चाहिए जो कि help करेंगे आपके legal acumen को बढ़ाने के लिए.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, has your practice of spirituality and yoga also influenced the way you approach legal cases and interact with clients?
Yes, in fact. You see, people ask me, so you're into yoga and this law, these two different pursuit poles apart. And where they converge. And I always used to say, you see, I have no difficulties in saying that my worldly life or my professional life is my sadhana, and my spiritual life is also my sadhana. So that is Krishna gave the message to Arjuna to do your karma yoga. Yes. If you do anything with a meditative mind, that becomes your sadhana. So what a law, or giving plant, or watering the trees, servicing your car, or whatever you do.
कोई भी काम हम करते हैं अगर पूरे ध्यान से मेडिटेशन से कर रहे हैं तो definitely.
Yeah, with awareness.
Yes.
A conscious effort होने चाहिए बस. जी.
So, how do you balance the demands of a busy legal practice with maintaining a regular spiritual yoga and other healthier practices? उस सब को balance कैसे करते हैं?
No, that balancing is an art, and पहले तो काफी difficult था मेरे लिए भी, and I always, every day for 1 hour I give to myself. I make no compromise when health comes, and health is always the number one
top priority.
Priority in my life. And I go for jog, or I do my yoga and whatever I learn from Bihar School of Yoga. And I give myself, whenever I feel depressed or feeling something, some hangover, then I keep on jogging. Yeah. That helped me in balancing my day-to-day life. And if you're physically fit, then you see everything is connected. Your body, mind, emotion, practice, everything. So, so this
great. Siddharth, can you share any personal experiences where your spiritual practice has helped you to manage stress or overcome obstacles in your legal career?
Day-to-day life, yeah, होते हैं. There is an incident I'm telling you. Long 10 years back, and 10 years back, those were my initial phases of my life. I was very much, that strong and to change. I got a law degree, and I want to change the society.
Yes.
होता है ना, एक जोश आता है कि I will do lot of things. सब कुछ बदल देंगे, society बदल जाएगा. And we in childhood we used to see the movie अंधा कानून. And when I got assaulted by some white collar, people get in the profession we face all sort of drama,
yes,
challenges. Exactly. Yeah, and I got depressed when I got that assault. Very much depressed. My parents they were in topsy-turvy. My mental condition was in such a state that I was unable to, I had been to the doctor, and I was totally, completely broke.
Okay.
And, yoga begins, or whatever spiritual practice begins, where we are in utter frustration in our life. And Arjuna was also frustrated, depressed. And that figure, that is a point where I never gave up. And मैंने कहा कि, and मैंने फिर देखा कि मेरा तो चीज कम है, बहुत लोगों को और कुछ हुआ है. And then I started regularly. I was away from, and a point था जब I was away from these practices of yoga, meditation, no, nothing of it. Even if in my school days, in my school academics, I was not a good student, and in my academics also, I was not a sports enthusiast. But ये सब शुरुआत हुआ जब when I entered into my college. I started playing tennis, and spiritual practices also helped me a lot, and keeping me grounded.
Right.
You have to be like a lotus. We are all surrounded by and they will
दलदल और हर तरफ है, लेकिन उसमें कमल की तरह खिलते हुए रहना है, और attached भी and detached also.
Yeah,
very well said.
Okay, society will never want you to remain in peace. कोई नहीं चाहेगा ये. Only you have to do it. You have to.
Yes.
Yeah. And you are here the master.
Exactly.
And you are here the master.
And I think the remote control should be in our own hand instead of giving.
Exactly. Giving it to others.
Very well, So, Siddharth, what advice would you give to someone who is considering to pursue a career in law? If he wants to pursue a career, he or she, what would be your advice for him?
Yeah, you see, law is a very powerful profession, and many of us don't realize the amount of power vested in this black gown.
Yes.
And we never ever underestimate your profession, and always remember world's greatest leaders were lawyers. And becoming a lawyer doesn't merely mean knowing all the laws, all the bare acts. Law gives you the ability to see things differently, and analyze people's behavior, and your perspective will change. And a lawyer, besides knowing the law, needs certain set of unique skills which like which can help them initially, and one can gradually learn this from when one starts practicing it. Like sharp your soft skill and observation skills,
Right.
and keep your mind, eyes, nose, ears all open. You have to be aware. Yeah. And once one becomes a lawyer, you do not have to follow the absolute. Yeah, you have to listen to what the senior says, how they're interacting. You have to observe them in the court also, but one has to use one's own skill. After you learn from others, but follow yours, and you follow, and there's no point of following the absolute rituals of the senior lawyers, and apply your own mind. And our profession too needs change, and we cannot repeat the old age practice habits till eternity. And as young lawyers, we will have to keep the judiciary in adapting changes. So change तो हो रहा है, चारों तरफ change हो रहा है. And that time, we cannot उस वक्त law was something different because the society was different. अभी change हो रहा है. Society में law has to be going in, some sort of amendment has to be there, but basic structure वही रहने चाहिए, हमारे संस्कार वही रहने चाहिए. बिल्कुल. Cannot संस्कार तो change नहीं होगा ना, पुराना नया नहीं होगा. Yeah.
Right, great. Siddharth, last में चलते चलते, would you like to share any initiatives or projects you are currently working on that aim to improve or support any underrepresented communities?
I'm working on, there are many projects coming, and there is, फिलहाल तो अभी I have some issues with the cruelty towards animals.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Wonderful.
I'm attached with an organization. I'm fighting, and I'm fighting for a person. People, they file frivolous cases for the dog and to harass the dog owners. Even if one thing I learned from dog is forgiveness and unconditional love.
Yes.
And if we can't voice for the voiceless, then the cruelty towards animal act is a futile effort on the part of. It is a futile effort. That law carries no meaning. So I'm working for it, and देखते हैं क्या होता है.
This is a wonderful cause, actually, and
yeah, it is a wonderful cause. People say it is not. Many people, many lawyers. Yeah, no. Earning money is a different thing, and doing something for your passion is something different thing. You know, and आते हैं cases, and we learn. I learn from them.
Sure.
And if I lose a case, I also learn from it. And I advise my clients to not to get depressed, and I take it to a different zone. Yeah. And we have to learn, unlearn, and relearning things simultaneously.
Great, Siddharth. I think you've shared some of wonderful insights in this profession of law, and I'm sure it should be very helpful for the upcoming lawyers and people who are wanting to pursue this as a career. I'm really grateful to you, Siddharth, for sparing your time. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
all the best for your future projects and endeavors.
Thank you.